Tottenham Hotspur have a midfield problem and we are going to address it. They've already made the sign of Conor Gallagher, which fixes a couple of things wrong with their current midfield, but they need more. In today's video, we are going to be discovering players which will fit Tottenham like an absolute glove. Before I do begin, if you are new here, please do hit the subscribe and like button as well, but let's get into it. When we look at Tottenham Hotspur's current midfielders, there's a very common trend. They're players which are very good off the ball in terms of duels and tackles, but once it comes to progressiveness on the ball, they really struggle. Take Paulinho, for example. He's one of the best when it comes to tackles, interceptions, blocks, clearances, and aerial duels won, ranking in the top 20 to 30% in all of those stats. But when it comes to pass completion, progressive passes, and progressive carries, he struggles a lot. Let's move on to another number 6, Bissouma. Again, a player that's top 6% for tackles, top 24% for interceptions, and top 3% for clearances. But once it comes to the more attacking stuff on the ball, he ranks as the bottom 97% for progressive passes recorded, the bottom 96% for progressive passes in general, and his passes attempted are the bottom 64% for midfielders. Even the younger players, although they have a lot of quality, really struggle in the progressive stats. Take Archie Gray, for example, top 3% for clearances and some very impressive stats, but when it comes to progressive passes, again, the bottom 98% compared to other midfielders. And Bergvall, very impressive player, very good player in terms of progressive carries and successful take-ons, but again, he struggles in progressive passes. When we do look at their current signing, which is Conor Gallagher, he's an all-round player who Thomas Frank will probably use in those second sort of phases in terms of pouncing on those second balls and being the one to receive it after the defensive midfielder wins a duel, and that is very much his best role. You can already see he's very good at progressive passes, in some instances tackles, interceptions, blocks, in terms of pass completion, but overall progressive passes is quite poor. So Conor Gallagher is one player who can fit Tottenham Hotspur like a glove. But now let's get on to the other two midfielders that Tottenham Hotspur desperately need to keep on improving that midfield. The first player is Akliouche, and I am a massive fan of Akliouche. Currently plays for Monaco. He can play on the right hand side, right wing, and he can play in the 10 or the 8 positions. And I think as an advanced 8, as the right-sided 8, he'll be very impactful for Tottenham. And when I talk about a player who's good on the ball, I really do mean it with Akliouche. If you look at his statistics against other midfielders, progressive passes, top 17%, progressive carries, top 1%, progressive passes recorded, top 2%. It is very impressive, and Tottenham Hotspur need a player who's comfortable receiving across the pitch in all phases, and Akliouche is certainly that sort of player. Whenever he does receive the ball and build up, he's able to find some line breakers, but in my opinion, I do think he is better in the second and third phase, as well as sort of playing that progressive pass. He's very good at it, but you want him in and around the box to make an impact, and that's what Tottenham's first front line needs. They miss a player who's pass first. They've got players who can carry the ball and dribble, but players who are creative demons. I think Akliouche is definitely that, and he would elevate Tottenham's midfield in terms of a player who can do the first phase stuff, find those line breakers, but also a guy who in the final third can find the penetrating pass. So I'd be very happy if Tottenham Hotspur got this signing under their belt. The last player we're going to talk about is Lucien Agoume, who I think is one of the best talented midfielders in Europe. He currently plays for Sevilla, and he's a number 6 that can also play number 8, but I think he's best utilized in the 6th position. And as you can see by his statistics, he's so well rounded. Look at the aerials won, look at the clearances, look at the interceptions. He's one of the best in those statistics, and progressive passes, look at that, 6.63 per 90 minutes, which puts him in the top 18%. Progressive carries as well, he's in the top 42% with 1.4 per game, and even the attacking statistics for a number 6, again, the top 14% in terms of assists, and in terms of shot creating actions for a defensive midfielder to have 2.48 per 90 is very good. He's also another player comfortable. If he has and does find himself in those advanced areas in the pitch, he can certainly do some damage. He's somebody that wins his duels, and if the game becomes stretched, he's able to win his tackles as well. I would definitely recommend him to Tottenham Hotspur, and he would elevate their side. When we're looking at Paulinho, very good tackler, but Agoume's ability on the ball in terms of carrying, in terms of line breakers, is second to none. So if you can field yourself an Agoume, Gallagher, Akliouche midfield 3, of course, I'm not forgetting Xavi Simons as well, and Maddison to come back as well, Tottenham Hotspur will have an incredible midfield. But let's now get to the tactics board. So on screen you can see the whole Tottenham squad, and you can already tell there's far too many midfielders who don't have specific qualities needed for a team of Tottenham's level. And as you can see, Bissouma, Palhinha, Bentancur, Sarr are players from the same book. Players who are really good at destroying and breaking up the play, but they don't have any attributes that can progress the ball up the pitch. And when we're looking at Thomas Frank's side, you need those attributes. So what I'm going to do firstly actually is I'm going to remove what I think Tottenham's sort of bench players are, keep the starters on. Bentancur, Palhinha, I think will stay in. Bissouma, Sarr. Okay, so one of the sixes, I think, depending on opponent, will be a Palhinha-like or an Agoume-like. Say Tottenham are against a team which they're gonna be the ones having to be the protagonist, having to move the ball forward. Agoume comes in and starts because he's the best progressor out of the chosen guys anyway. On the other side, then you'll need somebody like a Conor Gallagher. I think that will be perfect. Two players that can receive in the pivot at times and progress the ball up the pitch. That means that Bergvall drops to the bench. And I'm not saying Bergvall is a bad player, but he needs time. He needs time to keep improving as the player he is. Then we're looking in the advanced eight. Maddison is obviously injured, so I'm going to remove him now. I don't think we'll see much of the best of Maddison this season. But it could be Simmons or Akliouche. And what Akliouche starting means that in the build-up, you can actually have Akliouche drop deep, as we're about to see. Akliouche drop deep as a pivot. We know that Frank likes his football to be played into the pivot and then circulated through the three at the back. Most teams build up in this 3-2 sort of shape with the left back really high up and then one of the 10s higher up. That's not very good on the ball. Gallagher as a progressor on his own probably isn't the best. You want him sort of feeding off of the second balls and the wins and the duels and be in this final phase as much as possible. So that's what I would go with. Then the front three, for me, is pretty what you would expect, to be honest, from Tottenham. Kulusevski's out injured. And this team, I think, has the quality to win Tottenham matches against teams which sit back. Gallagher is somebody that can box crash and get into the box to support Solanke. Akliouche can help with the build-up. When the ball is a bit higher, he can come into this sort of side of the pitch. They were pushed up a bit higher here. And this triangle is so effective. We know that Thomas Frank likes balls into the box to the number 9. Tottenham will have that. Odegaard, a doggy holding the width as well. Let's push everyone up a little bit. Kingsley, I forgot. I'd probably go Kingsley in net, but Thomas Frank likes Vicario. So then you're looking at this and you're like, okay, you know what? This is a very effective attacking team. You've got all the players that are required to make and provide threat. And Agoume, his on-the-ball qualities mean he can be good in these areas. We're already seeing the amount of assists he has. He's a very good, intelligent player in terms of finding the final ball. Akliouche, we know about his final third quality in there. This triangle would be absolutely incredible. Same on this side. Gallagher, Odegaard, Doggy is one which can find ways with the Gallagher underlaps into these spaces. There's a lot of dynamism and movement needed to break down low blocks or mid blocks. So for me, this is Tottenham's best midfield. That's what I think they should do in this window. But until next time,